What's up, guys? Ice Deck here. So, welcome back to Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, it's been a while since little Ice Boy has delved into this game. And it's not to say that I hate it, right? Ladder reset Season 4 for PD2, so I went on that. Played a little bit of Diablo 3, but as usual, after about 10 hours of gameplay, I got sick of that bullshit. But as some of you know, I'm actually kind of looking forward to the changes coming up for Diablo 2 Resurrected. It sounds like that they're motivated to do a lot for it. So hopefully they will they'll achieve such. You know, what they seem to be feeding to the audience, that they're going to make some improvements, some quality of life changes, some balancing, and so forth. Now, one thing that hasn't been brought up at all, I haven't heard of this through any of the Vicarious Visions developers or whoever, the idea of melee splash damage. Now, of course, there's going to be new items, new rune words, balancing of items, reworking of skills. So I don't know how they're going to do how they're going to bring the melee classes, like a Frenzy Barbarian in this example. How are they going to bring them anywhere close to, say, the speed of a Lightning Sork or a Javazan? Just the clear speed, you know, if you want to clear the Chaos Sanctuary. Because the problem is, you're hitting one enemy at a time. You see this right here? One fucking enemy at a time. Some would say that's a bit problematic when it comes to closing the gap. Alright, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Because no matter how OP you are, no matter your achievements, if you're a godly as fuck barbarian, it's still a bitch to kill a little group of Fallens. And does that really make much sense? When, say, you can be a Javazan with shitty gear and one toss of your javelin, and you wipe out 20 Fallens at once, with one click, in a millisecond. But if you're a barbarian like this guy, not to say he's godly, because he's not. In fact, he has shitty gear. Let me show you his gear. His mercenary hasn't been, straight up a handout. But you see this? I mean, obviously I'm not killing these guys in one hit, but still, you gotta hit every single one. Here's his gear. Shit. Dual lightsabers. Drax. Lightsabers are shitty. That's all I really have for this guy. String of ears. Shitty MF ring. Gold Riders. Duress. Shitty amulet. And areas. You guys see what I'm saying? Like, obviously they're gonna bring some new rune words into the mix. But how much can that really speed things up when you still have to hit every single enemy? You know? But of course, with Melee Splash, I'll show you it in a minute here with PD2, because I have a Frenzy Barbarian in PD2. It doesn't really feel as cool, because it's just, you know, enemies take damage around you. It's not really as rewarding as, say, whacking them with an item. But it's practical, is the thing. So how would they implement this and make it still feel pretty impactful? And like brutal and shit? And is that even possible? Because the truth is, I really wouldn't mind seeing something similar to Melee Splash in Diablo 4 as well. But is this a good idea? Let me know in the comments below. Because what happens is, your barbarian ends up becoming kind of niche in D2R as it stands right now with no melee splash. Because it's very impractical to go and kill, you know, just large mobs. Just trash mobs. It's very impractical to go do that. While it's quite practical to do that with a Javazan or a Lightning Sorceress or whatever. You can kill them fast because you can simply increase your probability, let's say, of getting a rune or something. But the Barbarian ends up being kind of practical for, say, running something like the Trav here. because he can do a lot of damage to a single target, and he can sustain a lot of damage if built correctly, which this one is not. But even with that being said, he's still taking care of them with relative ease. See? So you end up just killing the Trav a ton of times. That's all you ever really do with this guy. Or you try to Uber with him if you build up, say, an Uber build. Now let me show you Project Diablo 2 and how melee splash is a very convenient feature. Fuck, I'm gonna die. But should we wage for it in D2R or Diablo 4? So I'll be right back with PD2. It's going to look like shit compared to this when it comes to the frame rate and the resolution. But of course the artistic style of the original is back in PD2. So here now we have Project Diablo 2. And this barbarian is much more well equipped than my one I just showcased from D2R. Although some really, unusual items. I was just fucking around. Still never upped this sash. A strange mix of gear, poor choice in armor and belt, and a few other things. But nonetheless, he has better weapons. Alright, that's pretty much it. He's only level 65. But even with that... Fuck. Go frigid, okay. Even with that, here he is now in Act 1. I'll show you the splash damage. See, here's the... You see that? So you can actually wipe out these trash mobs with ease. And I just wonder if that's needed in D2R. Say you're a Fury droid. You're kind of like a Zeal Paladin, right? You still got to go and swat every single enemy. Now, of course, there are some builds like, whatever, just a little bit of AoE. I don't know, something that wears Crescent Moon or whatnot as a weapon and has some other AoE effects. But it's still not like adding your base physical damage that you can build up over time with skill, stat points, and gear. It's still not adding that to the AoE. Which can be very beneficial when it comes to clearing trash mobs. You see that? Now, this still isn't as fast in general as, say, a Lightning Sork, a Cold Sork, Javazan, Hammerden, all that. But it helps a lot. You see? Yeah, it simply does your base weapon damage to enemies surrounding you in a certain radius, within a certain radius. Your base weapon damage, so not your frenzy. So pretty much does this damage right here, the top one, just the attack damage. It does that to the enemies within a certain radius. You know, it doesn't apply any of your skill multipliers. Which, yeah, I think it's a decent recipe. All right. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Do we need this bullshit in D2R or D4? Or is there a better way to get her done? Alright, in terms of just clearing trash mobs with, say, a godly as fuck melee character. Is there a better way to get her done? Because I can't really think of one, man. I mean, outside of, say, fuck, I don't know, on a certain unique or whatever, or a rune word like this. Say you didn't have splash damage in this mod. And say it, like, said, plus 500 cold damage to enemies surrounding you within 2 yards per attack. You know, say that it just did some bullshit like that. I guess that would be one method. But yeah, the splash seems very practical because, of course, you can kind of build it up with charms and all that. You can tweak it because, of course, it applies your like poison damage and your cold damage, and it applies your deadly strike and your crushing blow. So it's not going to waste. You know, it's quite rewarding as you begin building it up, which is probably why they decided to go this route in PD2. Yeah, but I'm curious, primarily, what you dogs have to say. There's a pretty big fucking gap between the melee characters and the casters, right? In Diablo 2. And do we really want it to always just be the melees are a little better for doing Ubers and the casters and shit are better at running everything else? Do we really just want to settle with that? Or should we maybe wage for something like this that could close in that gap quite a bit? Depending. Or what other option do you think would be available to, say, get this Frenzy Barb to be able to clear trash mobs faster? Because it is nice being able to run a lot of the game with the character and know you're not missing out on a ton. Like, you're not sitting there thinking, shit, if I just use my Light Sork for this, I could be 4 times as optimal in terms of clear speed. It's kind of a defeating feeling, because then you're like, why the fuck am I even playing this Frenzy Barbarian? In the catacombs, or running the pit with them, or whatever. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on these matters. Like the damn video if you haven't yet. Become a patron if you want. Links in the description below. And to those of you who support the Ice Boy, may your finances be blessed. May your youth be renewed like the eagle. And may you have many wives. Peace with you.